Thanks to everyone in terms of the Words Aloud team that made this festival and continue to make this festival possible. I'm just, thinking about what it means to be a poet and grateful for poetry for its freedom and grateful for poetry for the space that it allows for us to see what it means to be many things at once. And so I'm going to read from my book, which is called Running the Dusk, not running from dusk, Running the Dusk. And I'll begin by reading the two epigraphs to give you a sense of the universe of this book. And so the first is from Jean Genet in Prisoner of Love, and it reads, "The hour when street lamps are lit in the city and which children try to drag out so that they can go on playing, though their eyes, suddenly active, are closing in spite of themselves. The hour in which, and it's a space rather than a time, every being becomes his own shadow, and thus something other than himself. The hour of metamorphoses, when people half hope, half fear, that a dog will become a wolf." And he's speaking about dusk there, which the French call le entre chien et loup. And the second epigraph is from Neruda, might as well say my father, from Pablo Neruda, from the poem Himno y Regreso, and it reads, "En tu remota tierra ha caído esta luz difícil." And I translate that line as, "All this difficult light has fallen on your lonely land." Bucking up on evening. When the whole of the sky is beside me and all live things are clearing away, I run through the small valleys of sand, searching. Time to time, I dare myself to race the sun, and when I think I am in the lead, I see my shadow ahead, pacing me step for step, already in the blue hour, around my shoulders like a shawl. Flash between wake and sleep, sound of a proud man passing, one turn of the body, and there it is. How you send me deep into forgetting, where I am, what I want, the name of someone I love. Mangroves. Dusk and the mangroves of clouds which sit low into reverie, Chinese dragons mating or big woman riding chariot, clouds thicker than Whitman's beard. All angels have afros. Beneath them, the hotels, giant casuarinas in the half-dark, sawed off and smoking. Now I must return from the mangroves with proud egrets who know so much more than me. We must go back now to the shore of this new night. So imagine it's not snowing outside. We all would like to do that, but so imagine it isn't snowing outside, or imagine that this landscape here, this ground here is sand. So in this poem, I'm thinking about a game that I learned about. I didn't grow up with it, but I learned about it from a kind of elder figure. And it's a game that was played in the Caribbean and also apparently in West Africa. And there's a game called Moonshine Baby, or maybe Olive would tell you Moonshine Dolly. In different parts of the Caribbean, it has a different name. And so the game Moonshine Baby or Moonshine Dolly requires a group. So if this were the ground here and we were the group, so the group of us children would choose one person to be the baby. And that one person must lie on the ground. And our role is to gather anything shiny, anything that could catch light. So glass, anything. And we outline the person on the ground with this iridescent material. And when the person gets up, what's left on the ground is the moonshine baby. So this poem is the second poem in a series, so it's called Goodman's Bay 2. And the epigraph is from the great Martinican poet Césaire and reads, "O friendly light, O fresh source of light. Straight to the bush to gather cracked bottles of beer and rum, shards of sea glass smoothed by wind and sand. We, Haitian Bahamian descendants, burial society flock, crawl through the night. Since the light at dusk is like muslin, we lay the cold body of this man then on the shore of Goodman's Bay. How he washed here, we don't know, but the workers clearing the beach say, this him, John Goodman he name, originally Jean-Paul Delat, brother of Stephen Dillett, first colored man in Parliament. Come here on a boat from Haiti back then, back again, so we jewel the edges of his body with shattered bottles, then bear him to the foot of casuarinas in order that his born silhouette self may freely flash and prance. Luminous shadow lifting from the sand of this beach named after a black man. Oregon Elegy. I once told a friend who was going to Oregon for Christmas with his girlfriend he'd be the only black person there, and in fact, if you shuffle Oregon like a seasoned minstrel, it spells Negro, but with an extra O as if to make a groan, nearly a shout, perhaps a moment of fright. Oh, Negro in Oregon. He died laughing and told me that's word lynching. And I wondered if we could also lynch words, string them up, sever them, tattoo them with bullets and knives. If we could hold a barbecue for language, swaying with the branches, soon picked to silence by crows, words soaked in coal oil, then set ablaze, a carnival of words sacrificed over rivers, from bridges, from trees, two ripe words dangling from branches just beyond our reach. Like Alonzo Tucker in 1906, shot twice, then hanged from the 4th Street Bridge by 200 men arched into one white arm because we wonder, we know, a white woman said he raped her. I want to tell my boy blacks weren't wanted in Oregon at first, but what do I know? I've never set foot on Nez Perce land where exactly 100 years after Tucker, he could go west to one edge of America because he loves his woman enough to be the very last Negro on earth. So this next poem is for the Donny Hathaway fans in the room, and I know there must be a couple. Anyone love Donny Hathaway here? Knows Donny Hathaway? Okay, I see only one hand. So, all right, okay. You will learn to love him. But anyway, for those who don't know, you seek out Donny Hathaway. He's one of the great soul singers. So in 1979, the legendary soul singer Donny Hathaway allegedly committed suicide by jumping from the 15th floor of New York's Essex House Hotel. So this is my elegy for Donny. It's called Donny Hathaway, 1945 to 1979, listening to He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother. Lingering at the edge of want, grasping how, clawing, gripping again, then leaping, spread-winged, shape of whale, taking yes to good night. Rivering, ghosting in a slow drag, churching gravity. Praise arm to hold bones, larynx of soldered gold, soldier for the blues coup, heaven flung for what's coursing out, past the plunge of need, of we, when salt throat bears all to the blood of undone. A praise song called Old Man Chant. To Mr. Romeo Farrington, veteran limo driver who appeared in a red short-sleeve serge suit with white shoes. Praise. To the head server at Twin Brothers in silver and lilac polyester. Praise. To the snowbed man 2 pews behind me in cream coat, cream hat, cream shoes. Praise. To you, grandfathers and your stingy brims, your tie clips and your canes, your colored hankies, your thick black belts and your blazing wingtips, to the sweat you rain down in the name of chest out and swag, to you, guru dandies, old heads with limps and ailments, casuarina faces, to the black colonial bush jackets of ministers and doctors. You are men named Harlington, Errol, Clive, Israel, Theophilus, Cleveland, Allardyce. You are black men named Pompey, Solomon, Ezekiel, Napoleon, Augustus, Elijah. You men of 2 initials and a last name, nobility. You men who went to the Cat and Fiddle after church. You men who smell of rum and tiger balm, sometimes limacol, and the musky smell of Old Spice. You men of trembling hands and missing teeth, sugared, sallow eyes. You men from Cat Island and Crooked Island and Andros and Long Island and Inagua and Abaco and all. You men who walked to the Panama Canal, to the project in Florida and walked the long way back. You men with perpendicular backs now bending. You men who were born barefoot but earned your shoes. You men who still look me straight in the eyes, even from the Thursday obits. You biblical men with too many children. You men who loved women as much as you beat them. You men of faintly British accents in the presence of good company, you men who could not enter the Savoy Theatre walking around always alone, you men of so many secrets, kept names and stories born ache, to you men who learn to wear out the world, I wave the hands of praise. Two more poems, and I'm going to read a poem called Curry Powder. And in terms of reference, Pandey, I'm talking about Basdeo Pandey, who was the first Indo-Trinidadian Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. So this poem is called Curry Powder. Pandey in power now, somebody cries. They think they better than people, my cousins say, and they like wear feeler shoe. My brother and I laugh and add, they smell strong like curry powder. It's true, we say. Coolies and niggers fighting these days, but great-grandmummy Nita did not fight when she found herself facing the west instead, touching the face of a Grenadian Manny. She did not wear saris no more. Calypso she liked and could wind down with the best of them. She became deaf to the melody of Krishna's flute. She chose Mani, not Lord Rama, in her Hindu epic gone wrong. At her wedding, she never once uttered Ganesha's name, loosened the grasp of Vishnu's four hands from round her waist. Her sisters disowned her in the holy name of Mother India, but she made Dogla babies anyway and did not give them the sacred names of gods. Brahma, Shiva, Gauri. She named Granddaddy Leon, a good European name, like all the other rootless Negroes. You know how people go. It took many deaths and many births for the Mulchansings to talk to the Braffits again, and finally Mummy and her siblings were born looking Indian enough. But Pandey in power now, and Mummy warned me to say Indian, not Coolie. One of my small cousins told me with a grown-up intuition, you know, in Trinidad, you not black, you Dogla. Pandey in power now, and my cousins still cuss about neighbors with Jandi flags of many colors, claiming their yards for as many gods as there are colors. After which we all go to eating pilau with roti and curry, leaving our fingers stained yellow like old papers, so we too stink of curry powder. So I end with respect to the Sokin land on which we stand, and respect to my own ancestors. This poem is called Iguana. My friend from Guyana was asked in Philadelphia if she was from Iguana. Iguana which crawls and then stills, which flicks its tongue at the sun. In history, we learn that Lucayans ate iguana, that Caribs, my grandmother's people, ate Lucayans, the people of Guanahani. Guyana, the colonial way with an eye, southernmost of the Caribbean, is iguana. Inagua, southernmost of the Bahamas, northernmost of the Caribbean, is iguana. Inagua crossroads with Haiti, Inagua of the salt and flamingos. The Spanish called it Eniagua, water is to be found there, water, water everywhere. Guyana, in the language of Arawaks, Waiana, land of many waters, is iguana. Veins running through land, grooves between green scales. My grandmother from Aruga, southernmost in Trinidad, knew the names of things. She rubbed iguana with bird pepper. She cooked its sweet meat. The earth is on the back of an ageless iguana. We are all from the land of iguana, Huanora, Carib name for St. Lucia. And all the iguanas scurry away from me, and all the iguanas are dying. Give thanks.